What's happening, party people? Guess where I am? About to hang out with Handy Dan, better known as Dan the Man. He found somebody that had this 850, did a little video story about it. It's a T5 manual factory car, which they didn't send to the US. So this is a Canadian import. It had some damage to the front, and the person also had a car that they picked up for parts that, man, I don't know why they was parting that car out. But anyway, he's saving this vehicle so that it could be as used to somebody. Going to be a very nice car. He wanted me to stop by and get some parts for one of the cars that I'm going to rebuild and keep on the road. They actually dyed the seats black. They were tan, and the dash as well. Man, that dash and stuff turned out really well. So you could, put a little elbow grease in it and save it. Then, of course, he's got his laser here. He's getting ready to do a timing belt job on it today. So I'll be hanging out with Dan for a little bit, and then I'm going to gather up the parts that I'm getting from him and scoot on down the road to Cincinnati. And in today's video, I was still in Chicago working on that S70. And, I really expected to have that S70 for maybe 2 days. It's going on a week. And this process going slower than expected. So sometimes this stuff can run up when you keep running into thing after thing. Fix one thing, notice another thing that needs to be fixed. And these folks wanted to get that car as mechanically sound as possible so they could probably use it for another 3-4 years. So that's where I'm at. That's what's going on. If you have any questions, go ahead and post them about any of these jobs. The links to the detailed step-by-step instructions are in the remarks section. And hey, got to get on with today. The sun's about to come up. Need to get my walk on. Thanks for watching. Welcome to Hanging Out with Robert, that's me. This video contains things that I encounter throughout the day. If for some reason I complete a task and you would like to see the details, you could click on the link in the description area below. This video also contains tips and tricks that I learned throughout the years. I plan on leaving this video accessible for about 30 days. After that, you can view it through my Patreon account. Thank you very much for watching. Kicking off the Tinker Day, last night I learned that, man, these big rusty bolts on these freaking struts could actually be an issue. That big 17 actually spun stripped yesterday, but I was able to get it off. Now I'm gonna try to get this off, get this strut out here, put a new one in. I'm trying to get a hold to the dealer, see if I could get an inner tie rod in, but we have one here, Volvo inner tie rod in. I gotta find that and get that replaced as well. Well, this is a first for me. I took this strut loose, the whole engine moved, which tells me there's a engine mount issue somewhere in here. So I need to figure that out. So you see this bearing is rusted. That's not rusted too bad. The bump stop is gone. The springs are rusted, which may be an issue. They get rusted too much, they'll break. But they're together right now. Strut mounts rusted. We got all new stuff for this. Let me break this bolt loose and dig in. Let me put these spring compressors on here I got from Advanced Auto and tear this apart. I'm gonna put that Advanced Auto part number, model number on the video so that people can tell them how to find it in case they can't. Got the strut apart, and even though it didn't seem like these things were split, as you can see there, those spring seats were split open and weren't all the way bad yet, but it's just a matter of time. So whenever you plan on doing shocks, struts, whatever, prepare to do your spring seats or strut mounts, whatever you want to call them. And if you're up here in the rust belt, be prepared to do your bearings because, man, this is gritty. It's this rust belt stuff. 25 years and rusty stuff. We got all new stuff here at Swedish Car Parts that are heavy duty, man. So we're gonna give these a shot and let you guys know how they ride. I'm gonna put some on lemonade as well. And this is the mess that's in there. I pulled this boot off of here. You can see the top of the strut come apart with all the crumbs from the bump stop. But we got new bump stops. Getting ready to go at this inner tie rod. It's got a little play in it, clicking. And I noticed the boot on this outer tie rod end is torn, so that's right behind it. Need to replace that as well. Come on, boot, come in focus. I got the outer tie rod end loose. Now you can probably see how floppy this inner one is and hear the clicking in it. And now I see the control arm is all rusty and the boot on that ball joint's gone too. So I'm gonna check, see if they want that done as well. This kind of confirms that somebody's been in here on this steering rack. That is not OEM. That boot's been off before and it's got a little tear in it. So let's keep moving. Well, sadly, this boot is breathing, which normally means it's leaking, and you can see all that liquid coming out of this boot. So I'm trying to get this boot loose up there. That don't look like it's leaking too bad, but it is leaking a little bit. Leaking steering racks suck. Let me cut this off, pull this boot down here, and get this inner tie rod end loose. You can actually see the movement in this thing now. Waiting on some authorization to get some stuff done with this suspension. Well, I took the axle out of the knuckle and I can hear that. Usually that means it's breathing through a hole in there somewhere. Rolled the axle over and the inner boot is torn open too. So I need two boots. Let me keep looking. Time to start the surgery. Get these old boots off, get these CVs apart, and put the new boots on. It's Volvo, so you want to try to save it. Got that CV axle loose, ready for the new boots, but it is after 7. Time to shut it down. Yep, that was it. Got a little bit done on the struts. Got to work on those CV axles, tie rod ends, stuff like that. Now the next morning, I went out to the dealer and picked up a couple of parts. Alex at Swedish Car Parts actually had a few parts. And he has some things that are Volvo because he picked them up at one time and resold them or was using them on cars and stuff. So you can check in with him, and of course he has parts that he's manufactured that other manufacturers quit making. So you can always get other things as well, but feel free to check in with him, especially if it's on something that's hard to find or those older cars, 240s, 740s, and all those things that's older than that. He actually manufactures a lot of that stuff. So he's a good source for parts for the Volvo community, and he's starting to pick up more on some of the stuff these dealers and suppliers are abandoning on the 850s, and he's got a lot of things even for the P2 cars, shifter boots, parking brake boots, stuff like that. When you keep that little petty stuff looking good, it makes you feel better about holding on to your car and saving that money, because man, the powers that be trying to squeeze us into these new vehicles and paying $600-700 a month on car notes when you can spend $1,000 here and there on getting yours fixed. It's just makes more sense to keep a car on the road than get obligated to $7,000, $8,000 a year. I'd much rather spend $1,500 a year on my transportation and have good, reliable transportation than shelling out $7,000-8,000 on car notes. HOWR, expense when you look at the car notes plus the higher insurance. And man, I see new cars on the side of the road getting towed away, so it ain't no thing where you ain't got to worry about it breaking down. Heck, my mother-in-law bought a car and it popped a maintenance issue almost immediately. Few days she had it, probably 6-7 days. Took it to the dealer, they couldn't fix it. They could not get that car fixed. There she was without a car that she had a fresh note on. I don't think she had even made a car payment yet. And they had her car in surgery down at the dealership. So having a new one ain't no guarantee. So I'm kind of like that I found a car that I like. It's comfortable, things work in it, AC, cruise, and I'm moving on. You know, I'm not getting myself jacked up in these high auto expenses just to get from point A to point B. And you know me, I'm going to point C, D, E, F, G. So that's that. Appreciate you watching. Thanks for your support. Have a great day.